So, Jason, could you tell us a little bit about your career journey leading up to Career Organic?
I started in 2018. I graduated from Kennesaw State with my degree in mechanical engineering. I took a job in Houston, Texas, working in the oil and gas industry. And I worked there for about 2 years. And about halfway through that tenure, I realized that I wanted to go into continuous improvement. And so I made plans to go into continuous improvement at Pinnacle, which was the company I worked for. Unfortunately, they actually got rid of that department. And so I realized that I needed to start looking elsewhere. And with no experience or anything like that about continuous improvement specifically, I was actually furloughed in July. And then that's whenever I started looking for jobs and eventually found Career Organic.
So, what prompted you to seek out updating your resume?
A month of interviewing and or really not even interviewing but just applying for jobs and not getting anywhere in that process, I realized that I really needed some help. And so about August time is whenever I reached out to Briar and was able to get a good consultation going and try to figure out what my next steps for my resume should be.
Describe a little bit of the process of the resume review you did with Briar in the Career Organic writing team.
I was able to meet with Briar for about 15 minutes. We had a phone call discussing my resume, and she definitely recommended that I look into rewriting it. And she was able to hand me off to Kathleen, who was one of the resume writers. And from there, we had it was a good long phone call discussing what all of my desires in my career and what all I wanted on my resume, and just to see what would be a good fit and what keywords I needed in there, and then also some job openings that I had previously applied for that I really was interested in. From there, she was able to make a first draft of my resume in a little under 2 weeks, I believe. And after that, I had just a few tweaks that I wanted her to get done, and she got those back to me in less than a day after that. And the final draft was, I think, another business day after that. And then I was able to start applying from there.
Awesome. And what do you think the single best piece of advice you heard during this process was?
Say the best piece of advice would be from the applicant tracking system, learning exactly what that was and learning how your resume is actually read using that system. And then on top of that, just kind of the best way to get it in front of people. That's the whole point, is just to be able to get your resume in front of actual people.
How did you handle your job hunt before this? And what do you think the biggest difference is now versus then?
So the difference would definitely be at the very beginning, whenever I was trying to apply for jobs with my old resume, I was just applying for anything and everything that even was remotely close to what I wanted to do. And like I said, I wasn't getting anywhere. I only had the one interview. And the difference now is once I got my more targeted resume and was able to kind of understand why this resume works versus my other one, I started narrowing down the jobs that I would actually apply for. So instead of applying for 5 to 10 a day, I would apply for 2 to 3, but it was 2 to 3 that I would actually hear back from. So the from that point on, whenever I got my new resume, I think starting in September, um, I had, I believe I had 7 interviews starting in September versus one interview the previous 6 months, and I was able to get my job in the very beginning of November. So it took me 2 months once I had the new resume, and that was not even the only offer that I had at that time either.
Did your perspective on the job market change during this process? And if so, how?
I am just simply amazed at what it takes to get your resume in front of a person. I had no idea that the applicant tracking system was as prevalent as it is, and how much job description that you're looking for. And all of this stuff is so automated, has to be, because these companies, especially the bigger companies, get thousands and thousands of resumes. It's the only way to go through it, and so you need to know exactly what you're up against. And I had no idea, no clue whatsoever. I knew that they used a computer system, but I didn't even know what the parameters were, let alone how they determined what all got through to an actual HR person, or the hiring manager, or anything like that.